So it is that time of the year in the National Basketball Association where the league puts the pedal to the metal. Right now it is the home stretch happening, maybe 2-3 games at the most in the regular season schedule for the respective NBA teams, including those who are jockeying for position in the NBA playoff race. Quite a handful of teams in the Western and Eastern Conference, 8 seeds apiece. So 16 teams overall lucky enough to compete in the NBA's second season. And that includes 2 teams, one on the East, one on the West, who have the top 2 contenders for the most valuable player in that race this year in the NBA. Let's start on the East with the team that should wrap up the top seed. They've been great with the best record in the league this year. The Milwaukee Bucks, led by a young buck, almost literally, as Giannis Antetokounmpo has been amazing. The Greek Freak, as they call him, he's averaging just about 27 points a game, 13 rebounds, 6.5 assists. How good is that? Okay, take this into account. Only 9 other players have ever averaged in NBA history over 25 points, 10 boards, 5 assists. And it includes some old schoolers, Wilt Chamberlain, the Big O, Oscar Robinson, some of the new schoolers, Russell Westbrook, guys from my era, Charles Barkley, and so on and so forth. So he is having an historic season for the Bucks, shooting 57% from the field. Whatever you want from a guy to do, 8 feet within the goal to get the ball in the basket, this guy can do. He is what they used to call Dominique Wilkins, a modern-day human highlight film. Also plays some great defense. That's something that a lot of NBA players do not do in this high-powered, high-scoring age of basketball. As I will talk about the other MVP candidate in just a moment, and he's definitely a guy who fits into that argument. But I still want to talk about the Greek Freak. As I mentioned, he plays defense, okay? You go through the annals of NBA history, at least in my lifetime, you had guys like this. Dudes on the Boston Celtics. They got as rough and rumble as you can get. Their big 3, Bird, Parrish, McHale. How about the bad boys? Rick Mahorn, Bill Laimbeer in Detroit, making life miserable for Jordan. Then the Bulls had a couple of bad boys themselves. Guys that made it tough on others to come into the paint and score an easy deuce, like Rodman, Cartwright. The Knicks. Never won a title, did my Knicks. I see John Starks over my right shoulder, but they came close. But they had guys that would not allow you to score at will unless your name was Mr. Michael Jordan, with guys like Oakley, Mason, and Patrick Ewing. You get my point. So that's what the Greek Freak does, at least in my book. He plays old school defense, and he's a completely unselfish basketball player who's got a great attitude. He's a great ambassador for the sport. And I'll give you my vote in just a minute. I'm selling the Greek Freak on you. Now let me talk about a guy who's from my university. He's also an alum of Arizona State. So how can I go against the ASU guy, right? Forks up. James Harden, who, since he's departed ASU, he's now clearly the best Sun Devil pro basketball player ever. It's been like beards down, beards up. A little bit of that old school Rebbe Lubavitch retro beard going. How about that, huh? A little food for thought. Things that make you go, How good is he this season? How about 36 points per game? The most in that neighborhood since Michael Jordan, 86, 87. So Harden getting his name up with his earness, the Holy One. 36 points, 7.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 44% from the field. And that isolation offense, he can score at will. Anytime, anywhere on the basketball hard court, he can put the ball in the basket. It doesn't matter. The guy is an electrifying, dynamic scorer. Now, I talked about the lack of defense. And he kind of fits in as, I would say, the microcosm. The guy who's maybe the poster boy of this age in basketball, where offense is on steroids. But like I said, he's a Sun Devil. And I don't care when he would play, what era. Now, he would take a beating if he played in the 80s and 90s of what I'd say glory day NBA basketball, the revival era that I got to see growing up. I still, of course, I enjoy the game. I'm talking about it here on my channel. By the way, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for checking everything out on 954sports.com. I do appreciate it. Thank you for all your support. But, you know, I appreciate what Harden can do. Just a great basketball player. I think he can put the ball in the basket. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what era it would be. You know, that beard would take a beating if you tried to do it against some of those guys I showed you the pictures from earlier. But that's neither here or there. It's a hypothetical argument. A real argument is who should be this year's MVP. Let me get this in there. Just throw this in there for S's and giggles, as they say. I don't want to use the expletive. No need for that. So hypothetically, let's say Russell Westbrook. Let's say his Oklahoma City Thunder were competing for a 2nd to 5th seed like those Houston Rockets are. Or Giannis's top-seeded Bucks. Let's just say. Russell Westbrook would make it a 3-horse race because he's that 1A to Giannis and James. He's on the verge of averaging his 3rd straight triple-double this season. Pretty incredible. Over 20 points, just about 21 points. Something like 11.5 rebounds, 10.5 assists. What a great basketball player. You know, if he ever played in a market like New York or Los Angeles, I mean, he gets his fair shake now, and he gets his fair due. The MVP season before Harden won it, season before last. He gets his props. But if you ever played in a big market, if you ever played in the Big Apple, the guy would be larger than life, or if he ever plays for a champion. But he's not in the race this year. It's definitely between the Greek Freak and Harden. So who would I give it to? I'd love to give it to the ASU alum. I love Harden. He gives back to the university. I know some people, you know, turned off by the cockiness, the brashness, but the ability again to just score anytime, any place, anywhere, when he wants. He's undefendable at times, and that's a lot of times for 36.5 points a game. Hard for me not to vote for him, but I love defense. Defense wins in baseball, basketball, hockey, lacrosse, water polo, whatever it is. Defense wins. And at the end of the day, his team is going to be the top seed. They're going to be the team with the best record and the team that everyone should expect to contend and win an NBA title. He's put him in that position, although Harden's Houston Rockets have been great, and they're in position too to make a run for a title. Maybe these two clash and meet up for a finals, an NBA championship, and maybe a finals MVP. But I'd have to give it to Giannis on the Bucks, just because of what he does on the defensive end, along with that offense and along with that rebounding ability, and to be able to stretch the floor on both ends. It's a close race. I know Harden earned it last year, but my vote goes to the Greek Freak. That's who I think should be this year's 2018-2019 MVP. Either way, it's going to be a great playoffs, and I'm looking forward to see which one of these two MVP contenders can get their team to championship contention.